Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another SuddenlyComics.com. It's a Monday night. It is the prize variance. I am here with everybody's favourite Canadian, this guy,
Am I
Alan,
over there? I don't know where I am.
and we are going to be looking at the hottest Silver Age sales of last week, as curated by Alan from Heritage Auctions. Now, over on Alan's channel, we had some stunningly sort of high volume numbers on the census counts. With one of the comics we looked at had a census of one, and the copy that
And we saw that massive sale, okay? And we can go,
Alan's new
wow.
Alan's new technique to make sure he gets sales is to pick really obscure comics that have never sold before and then claim it's a record.
Yeah, it's like a record. We are having all records this year because we're picking the best books.
Anyway, so if you want to go and see that, go over to Alan's channel, but not until you've after watched my channel because the best books are here, aren't they, Alan?
Hmm.
Yes. Right. Okay. Let's kick off.
Okay.
Okay. So we have got the Avengers number 23. It's a signed copy, um,
Hmm.
and it's a 9.4.
And this is a major key. Recently was a major key. But there's a couple things with it. It's got a signature by Stan Lee, so is that going to help or hinder?
Well, it's a bit hit
Um,
and miss, isn't it?
yeah.
Sometimes it misses.
But this is the first appearance of uh what's her name? Renova? Um
But it doesn't say anything about first appearance on the CGC label.
it might say it in the heritage listing. You gotta click out. Yeah. And then
Oh,
Renslayer.
Maestro Ravona Renslayer.
Yeah. So
Uh,
she was the one that was in the Loki series.
yeah, she was. Yeah.
So I always like looking at these ones. This is like one of those like I always like looking at books that have sort of gone past where the show's out, all the spec is over. How does it perform now? Does it because this book went wild the um during the spec around the Loki series. Okay, just before the Loki series came out. This was like 100, really cheap book, and then it went through the roof overnight kind of thing. So I
Well,
was just
I have
kind
to
of
say,
curious.
$2,000 for a 9.4 signed sounds low.
To me, it does too.
Right.
So I'm curious how well it performed.
Right. So as a sign,
Actually,
yeah,
it's about it's about right. Actually, it hasn't really gone down or up. It's
no,
sort of flat.
static. Over 4 years, it's gone up $10.
But if you look at where it was in like 2016, you can see that there was that spike that I was talking about due to the Loki show where it kind of like
Well,
wasn't selling for
no,
much
the
for.
Loki show was after 2016.
I know, but I'm just saying there's only a few points on the thing here. So maybe 2018 you can still see the spike,
Yeah,
right?
here's the spike for the show here. Uh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And it's sort of maintained value. It's a little bit down based on inflation, but kind of maintained value, which is
How does that
interesting.
compare to a census?
Uh,
Census count is 930,
okay. Not that high of a census count.
and the Universal 9.4 sells for 1,400.
Okay. So Stanley's signature is actually worth something.
Lee has added $600 in this case.
That's actually quite good for Stanley.
It's not bad at all. We've actually seen him lose money a couple of times.
Yeah. So that's not bad.
That's a,
Wow.
yeah, it's a nice cover. I like the sort of
Actually, I like the cover too.
yeah. Yeah, and Stan has signed it in a sensible area as well.
Yeah. So I mean, a cool book. Um, yeah. That's exactly where I would have put a signature if I was going to ask, "Oh,
Yeah.
can you put
Do
the
you think it was
signature?"
a bit faded, Alan? If you look at this
It
copy,
looks a bit faded compared to the other picture, yeah.
If you look at that picture there, that this one's better, isn't it? Unless that's
Yeah,
been enhanced by the whoever's done that image.
yeah, it looks brighter, like the colors look a little
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, moving on. We have got a classic. It is Daredevil 1.
So I mentioned that I like to look at books that have current spec around them as well.
Yeah.
So that previous one, the spec is kind of over. This is one where the Daredevil Born Again TV series was just they just released the trailer for it,
Yep, they did.
and it looks good.
It did look good, yes.
Yeah, so I'm curious if that will feed into this
Might be
book.
a bit early because the sale was this week. I don't think the trailer came out till Monday or Tuesday. I think this sale would have been before the trailer.
Maybe, maybe. But I was kind of curious about this book because, there was, we knew that the show was coming anyway, so there is a bit of hype around this book
Right.
for that reason.
3,000 for a 4.5. Um,
Hmm.
sounds about right to me.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me too. I
Okay.
mean, it's way down from the
Yeah.
crazy time,
This
but
is its new level. This is appears to be its new level around this 3,100 mark.
yeah. What was the sale before COVID? It looks pretty low.
No, 2,000 roughly. So it's done well since COVID, but this did
Yeah,
really well. I mean, this was always an undervalued number one, wasn't it?
yeah. Actually, when COVID was happening, it was like, oh, is it really just finally getting the respect that it deserves? Now, this is one of those books that, in a way, was kind of undervalued because it just has a crazy census. Look at the census on it; it's like a huge number of books on the census.
Yeah, 6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of
that
books.
is.
And that's just because this was well after all the success with Marvel, like where, oh, this is a new number one, we better save it. So there's a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
so that, I mean, to me, that's a strong sale. I wouldn't say it's like, obviously it's not a record, but it's
I'm
a
not sure
strong
about
sale.
that. It's one sold for 3.5 in May. So it's down against that. I mean, it's the book is definitely up. It's stepped up. It's,
Yeah,
it's remained stepped up. It's finding a new level around here, whereas previous.
yeah, I would say this book would range in 3,000 to $3,500
Yeah,
range would be
exactly.
kind of
That's
where you
right.
would find it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it depends on how many people that really want it when you go to auction for it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Whether you're paying the
It's
top or bottom of that.
63, isn't it?
Yeah,
1960. No, this is 64. March.
64. So way after.
Yeah, so this is
I,
quite later. Um, interesting.
mm, but a good book overall. I
Yeah,
mean, it introduces Daredevil. It introduces all his love interests. It introduces like, his, sidekick guy and pretty much everybody that you need. It gives his origin. Yeah, it's a cool book.
yeah, yeah. Okay. There's a lot of them though. Um,
Yeah,
right. So, how did this? Oh, we talked to see how it did. It did sort of okay.
sort of okay. Nothing major. Not a massive sale or anything.
Right. Moving on. Oh, hooray, 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 hooray. Here we are.
So this is on the list because I know you wanted it, and it's also one that you're gonna have more fun with because
Uh,
it's restored. So you have to do a little bit more work.
the only worse thing than a restored Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a restored signed Amazing Spider-Man 1. Then I have to go to about 16 different screens, right? So let's start
Hmm.
off by looking at a restored.
Is this one signed?
No,
I don't. No, at least it's not signed.
no,
I was
exactly.
being nice to you.
That's the point I was making. It's less the work and it's a signed one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Actually, okay. So when I looked at this, I thought this is a reasonable sale. It's really hard to know in a way because I paid about 4 to 5,000 for my copy, and mine's like a 5 or 6. Wait, what is mine? Mine's a 6.
Right, restored.
So so that would mean that mine is cheaper than this one if you go by the per point price.
Yeah.
So I was actually kind of thinking that's not a bad sale. It's actually a reasonably strong sale.
Well, look.
Now, I bought mine before the whole COVID
Yeah.
craziness, but
Wow. No, it's right down here. Look.
yeah, but it looks like it's back on the trend line that it had before, which was a crappy trend line.
Well, if you
It's like a really
hang
low
on, let's
trend
have a
line.
look. Pre-COVID price. Pre-COVID price was 3.5, and it's
Oh, so it's actually below
slightly
pre-COVID.
below pre-COVID price.
Wow, that's interesting. And what was the peak on COVID? I
Huge.
mean, that looks like a huge hill that it's gone up and fell down.
Nearly 8.7.
8.7. Wow. So this one had a major drop.
But
How
the
does it
one
compare to like the okay, so we're looking at it going from 8,700
to three
to
three.
233. Okay, so it's gone down about a third, like a little bit less than a third. Okay. How does that compare to the drop
It's
that
gone
the
down by about 60%.
yeah, how does that compare to the Universal?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Well,
Uh,
I always like to say, oh, does is it a better investment to have bought the Universal? You paid a little bit more money, but did it hold its value better? You know what I mean?
the answer to your question is not really. So if you take the peak here, it's 16,000, and its latest price is 6.6. So it's gone down $10,000. So it's about the same sort of decrease.
Yeah. Okay, so roughly it was yeah, it's always going for about 50%.
Less, about 60%. It's lost 60% of its
No,
value.
no, no, no. I mean, if you compare the price of the Blue Label versus
Oh, well, you're
the
comparing 6.6 with 3.6. So yes, yeah,
about half.
yeah, just over half. Yeah, about half, exactly half. Yeah.
Interesting. Usually in the low grades, it's a little bit higher than that. Usually get about 60%,
Yeah.
70% even sometimes.
Yeah.
So wow. Okay, that's interesting. So it's sort of kept the same ratio from what we
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So the only saving grace to the restored in this case is that you didn't lose as much money.
No, because you didn't pay as much, you didn't lose as much money.
Yeah. See? So there are benefits to restored books. So that's at the end, that's
But
my
the way to have lost even less money was not to have bought either of them.
well, I don't know. So yeah, I mean I think it's a great book. I just I don't know. For me, that's why I buy restored, because I don't want to lose as much money. Um I don't know. But it's still, I think it's still cheaper than what I paid. I mean, this is actually more expensive than what I paid. So that's my point. I got it for a great price, I think. You can look up the 6.0, like see how well I did.
Let's see how much do you pay for yours before we put it
I
up?
think it was like either 4,500 or somewhere around there. I think it was around 4,500. You could probably see my sale. Um,
Oh, that's not restored.
yeah, I have to look at restored.
6.0, did you say?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
might have paid more. I don't know. I forgot. Like I conveniently forget how much I pay for things sometimes.
I think this might be you here. The year 2000. Does that sound about right?
I think it was earlier than that.
Okay.
I thought it was like 2019 or something. Maybe it was that 3,700.
No, that was 2018.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2018 range.
Well, in which case you paid 3.7 and you got a good deal on it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that
You,
was me.
you've doubled your money.
Yeah. See?
But that was a really good price because the one before sold for 5.2 and the one after sold for 6,000. So you were on.
Yeah, so I bought it like it was like after they had the Prime auction and then they had this like, just standard auction.
Yeah.
So nobody paid attention to the standard auction. So I
Right,
got it for a
I
great
want to
price.
check this is you now, Alan. I want to see.
Okay, I can wait. Just give me a sec. I'll give you the number.
Yeah,
207-845-9002.
no, that's not you.
That's not me. That's not, so I did pay. Okay, so find mine.
What number did you say it was?
94 something.
946.
Okay, wait. Okay, you're forcing me to stand up again. 207 is
Okay.
the first three digits. Look for
07.
207.
Right.
207. Did I pay 5,300? No, that's not mine. Mine's a new label. A newer label, I'd say. I didn't pay 10,000. I can tell you that much.
It might be this one.
Was it 2000? Was it more recent than I thought? Was that it?
Okay.
What's the serial number?
This is that's not 207. What's this one? No, I don't think they've got your
It
sale.
was on Heritage.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a Heritage auction.
Well,
It
this
was
was
a while ago.
122037.
No, it's 207 is the first digits.
Oh, wait a minute. Did they put the wrong? Yeah, this is yours. This is yours.
Okay, so how much did I pay?
9002.
Okay, yeah, that looks like me.
This is yours. Right. So you
So I
paid,
paid 5,700.
yeah. So you paid,
Oh,
we're about right. You said 5,000. So five,
yeah.
you paid 5760 and it's now work. You've done all right. You've done all right.
Yeah, it's still in the positive.
Yeah,
It's
you're
still in
well
the positive.
in the positive. The last one sold for 84. You're well in the positive.
Oh, cool, cool. Okay, I was a little worried there.
Right, you've had it for 5 years and you've made about two and a thousand, $2,000 odd. Not bad at
No,
all.
it's not too bad. Not too bad. So I bought it just before COVID. That's all I knew. Yeah, I just remember I didn't remember when before COVID. Actually, I was sort of surprised when I won it because like I sort of put in just a random bid, just thinking, oh, it'd be a really cool book to get, and I didn't expect to win. I just sort of randomly won. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
And this is not done bad. This grade is not done as bad as the other grade. So this is it
Yeah,
hasn't gone
I
down.
think this one doesn't sell as often. You'll note, the other one had a lot more sales, so it
Yeah.
had a bit more of a dynamic
Oh, I know
press.
why. Because this hasn't sold for 3 years. So
Oh, okay.
we haven't had a post COVID sale of this. So I think you might be falsely thinking that you're doing quite well here. So if I apply the same 60% off the peak, that needs to have 7 or 8 thousand taken off it. So yeah, now I think you're more like I think the current value is probably more like so if we take seven, that's seven. Yeah, so I think the real value, you think he's still up. I think it's about
It's
7,000 rather than 8,000.
Yeah, okay. So I'm still up. That's all that matters. As long as I'm doing well, that's all that matters.
I think you are still up. Right. So it'll be interesting to see when one of these sells.
Sells again, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. So we've sorted
That was like,
Alan's bank account. Okay, on to the next comic, which is a cracker. It is
yeah, I was this one I
time.
was a bit impressed by because it's such a major book.
Beautiful
This is
book.
actually, believe it or not, this is the third appearance of the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
It's his first Silver Age, but it's only his second cover as well.
Yeah, they didn't use him very much previously.
Well, they only had him twice in the Golden Age,
Yeah,
and this is, as I said, his second cover, third appearance overall, and first silver.
yeah, big comic.
And it's a Neil Adams cover too. So there's lots going on for. Oh, actually, wait, no, it's not.
Neil
It's a
Adams.
G
It's Carmen Infantino and Joe Giella cover.
yeah. I thought it was Neil Adams, but
No,
okay. No.
no, it looks more like Carmen Infantino. Yeah, first Silver Age appearance of the Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane.
Hmm.
7 got the checker plate logo.
Go checks for the win.
4 high grade 3480. Sound I think that's cheap for such a big key.
I actually think that's a good price. I mean that they did well.
Right.
I would have expected this book around 3,000, like lower 3,000, like
Okay.
even lower.
Well, you're right.
Hmm.
So this has performed pretty well. If you look at this, this is in a constant upturn.
Yeah. Um, I think there might have been an announcement that Scarecrow is going to be in the next Batman movie. I might be mistaken on that. People can
Anyway,
comment below.
it's holding at that sort of 3,500 price, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, this one has a really good trend line.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
was. Yeah, good
like
trade.
overall, I mean, there's no like crazy COVID
No,
spike. There's
no.
no, but
Uh,
I guess it might not have sold
did
during
it
that
sell
time.
during COVID? Yes, it did sell during COVID. One sold in September 21.
Oh, okay.
In fact, the one sold in July 22, which is also COVID.
So
So
yeah, so
actually holding. This is actually better. Hold it's beating the COVID prices.
maybe DC's finally getting the love it deserves.
Who knows?
I wouldn't doubt.
That's one of your
So
wishes. That's one of your
this
wishes.
is one of my like if I keep on saying it, it's going to come true. That's what I believe. Okay, so how many on the census of this book? I mean, this is probably a lower census count.
I don't know if you've got this, you get it slabbed, don't you? Two, three, two, three.
Yeah, I mean that's whenever we compare things to Marvel, that's why I say it's a lower census count. Because like typically a Silver Age book is like 4 to 5,000, right? And this is about half that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but just a cool book. Classic cover too. Key first appearance.
Yep. Very good. I like that one. Right. And finally, the big boy book of the week is
Yeah,
X-Men 1 in a 7.0. Uh,
slightly faded copy if you look at it.
it does look a bit faded to me, and we saw
Yeah,
copies never perform very well. Um,
yeah.
so yeah.
You can see that the X.
I always love Iceman throwing snowballs at Magneto. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you think about it, if you could make them kind of pointy or something dangerous about the snowballs, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. There's no metal in snow.
This is very true, but he's got a force field up of some description. Uh,
Yeah.
seems
He
to
creates a magnetic force field.
yeah, which seems to be repelling snowballs. It's a snowball.
It
Um,
shouldn't work against snowballs, is my
well,
point.
I know, but it does. The physics is all wrong, Alan. Right. Okay. So a 20,000. Right. This is one of these bellwether books, Alan.
Oh yeah, this is a blue
This
chip, major blue
one,
chip book.
this one should tell us the state of the market. And I think the state of the market is still down. So
Oh yes.
I
I
predict
I'm I
down.
I've heard lower, like I've seen lower grades go for about this much. So um yeah, this seems really underperforming.
Oh no, that is below COVID. 20,533 pre-COVID. It's not. Well, September 2020, which is just pre-COVID. About
No, that's during COVID. Go earlier. You have
September
to go
20.
earlier.
Okay.
September 2020, that's like still COVID.
When
You
did
have to go anything be like 2019, early 2020.
All right, so December 2019, 20,450. So we are just about on the pre-COVID price.
Wow. So I think somebody got a bit of a bargain on this one because it is a major key. It should, but if you look at the trend line, this trend line is not that interesting. It's a very flat book.
Yeah, if you take it for exactly, so if you could take it from, I don't know, here, November 18, it's hardly moved.
Yeah.
Um, and there was a peak of 68, nearly 69,000 on this. So
I-
somebody's lost 40,000 on this.
wow. That's crazy. The funny thing is this book in a way was hotter before like a long time ago when the X-Men movies were coming out. There was a lot of like hype in the 90s about X-Men, early 2000s. There was a lot of hype. But we really haven't seen much X-Men since. The only thing that's happened recently, and maybe the reason there's that little spike
Yeah, I think this
later
spike
on,
here might be
the TV series that came out,
cartoon.
kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah, it is. That's around the cartoon time, May.
yeah. So this book really, in a weird way, might be a bit undervalued. I mean, this would be, because they're going to come out with the next season of that X-Men, right? I'm
Yeah,
not sure what,
they've changed the creator.
which might work against it, but I mean, the original, the guy that wrote the one that just aired was really good.
Yeah,
He did a really good job.
exactly. So they had to fire him. You can't actually do good stuff at Marvel.
Yeah, I know. It's so annoying. So they fired him, but you never know. They might. I mean, what if you look at what the guy did, actually, he really just followed the books. The story that
It's
he
really
created.
it's a really difficult thing to do, isn't it? They don't seem
It
to.
seems like it. It seems like it. They have like real time trying to like, they seem to pick people to direct and write that have never read or seen anything related to the thing that they're writing or directing. I don't know why they do that. And they're like, oh, we're gonna make these characters totally different and totally unrecognizable. So yeah, so I don't know. Just just use the source material. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Ugh. But
Uh,
oh well.
so this is not a good price, and this is not a good indicator for the market at all.
No, it isn't. Um, hmm. Oh well. So my prediction was like I made a prediction last year about this year
Yeah.
that by the end of this year, this
Oh,
is my
it's changing now, guys. It's now by the end of the year.
no, I think I said like
Okay, to be fair, I think you said during next year.
no, I said like end of next year. I said like October-ish to November.
Okay.
Um, so I said that they would become a seller's market by that point. So we have a long way to go to get to my prediction being true. Um, so I don't know. We'll find out.
I think
A little bit nervous now.
a lot depends on the Superman and Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, there's a lot, those two movies have to do well. There's a lot of things in the market right now that aren't boding well for the market, like Diamond going bankrupt. That's not a good sign. There's a bunch of things.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Diamond just just were
they
hopeless.
weren't good. They weren't good at what they were doing.
No, they deserve to go bust. You know, they couldn't. They were in the business of distributing comics, and they couldn't distribute comics without severely damaging them all the time.
Yeah, there was damage issues. There was a whole bunch of issues
And
that they
they
had.
never addressed it. They never did anything about it, despite the complaints from the retailers. They didn't
Well,
change their mechanisms. They didn't change their supply chain. And you
well,
know,
the problem was they were the only.
Penguin Random House came in, and
Mhm.
they fixed. They didn't have the problems with damages.
Yeah.
It's a
I
huge
mean, the problem
difference.
was they were too cocky. They thought, oh, we're the only game in town. We're gonna always stay, it's a monopoly situation. This is why people don't realize you don't have to do anything with a monopoly. You don't have to like put in price controls or things that prevent monopolies from forming. You actually just have to let them destroy themselves.
Yeah,
And
because
that's what Diamond
they
proved.
just think they're complacent and they're irreplaceable, and
And
inevitably.
the little guys will come in and just destroy them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and actually, they were cocky about it. They were like, "Oh, you go and use those other distributors. You're going to come running back to us." And
Yeah.
the other distributors were better. It's like a cheaper and more efficient and provided more quality care.
Yeah.
Yeah, very basic stuff. Oh well. So hopefully the market follows my prediction. That's all I hope.
Yeah.
Because I want to see comics last into the far future.
Yeah, but it is a buyer's market. It's a good time for buying.
Good time for buying.
you and I bought well during this period of time. You know, Stephen's picked some absolute cracking. Our mate Stephen Gentner has picked up some unbelievable stuff over the last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I picked up a few myself. The thing is, like, the reason I wanted to actually go to a seller's market is generally you kind of want people to put out more stuff. You kind of want to have that, like, if it's a buyer's market for too long, people are going to hold back their best books.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, I'm not going to
Yes.
sell during this
Well, that's
time.
partly what causes the change, because what
Yeah,
happens in a buyer's market is that the people who are selling are the people that have to sell.
yeah,
That
yeah.
you're selling that book not because okay, I'm going to
Not
make
because you want to sell it.
I have to sell it because I need the cash. Now those
Yeah,
people eventually run out.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm
And
seeing now. I mean, just we didn't have Amazing Fantasy on the list. We didn't have certain books that are actually kind of staple for the list kind of books
yeah,
because they just nobody's like wanting to lose 20,000 when they put it back
no,
out on the
and my advice to somebody with an Amazing Fantasy 15, and it has been, is don't sell now.
worst time to sell.
Wait,
So the
wait.
point is like, you know, we're going to get to a point where if you keep the buyer's market going for too long, you're not going to see cool books anymore.
No, well, but that's what will cause the change in the market.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my point.
So
So I
somebody,
want to like as a buyer, I want to see cool books.
yeah, because if nobody
So
sells an Amazing Fantasy 15 for 3 months, the first one that comes on the market after 3 months is going to go for a higher price.
yeah, basic supply and demand.
Else there will be, but over those 3 months, there'll be, 10 people who decided they want to buy Amazing Fantasy 15, and there hasn't been one for them to buy. So they're all going to be going for it. So that's what causes the, supply and demand. The problem
Yeah.
is that the people who have to sell flooded the market.
Well, I mean, it was pretty crazy for a while there.
Yeah, well, we have,
I had like three or four copies that I could have chosen from
yeah,
to put on the list.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, well, if you're going to sell three or four copies at the same time, you're going to kill the price.
Yeah. So the point you made was, there wasn't an Amazing Fantasy 15 to put on the list this week, maybe is our first indicator that that might be beginning to change.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. There's a lot of stuff happening this year that's going to play into this market. Like, so I'm actually very curious how the year is going to perform. But yeah, I am looking forward to a seller's market actually. I know it sounds weird as a buyer, but it does make sense.
Well, I'm a buyer and a seller, so
You definitely want the seller's market.
yeah. But the problem is that for my personal collection, I'd rather it was a buyer's market because I can buy for my personal collection. From a trader's point of view, it's sort of six of one, half a dozen of the other. As long as you're not in the position where you have to sell, you know.
Hmm. Well, I think the economy was such, like, it was so bad for so long. Like, I mean, we had about 2, 3 years of really bad economy. Like, it was probably a recession, but nobody wanted to say that. Um, and people were selling out of just sheer desperation. That's why I picked up some really major books just last week that I'm shocked how much I paid for them. Like I got them for steals. Like I you know I did pick, like I just showed my Friday, like on my Friday video, my top 10 wants for 2025. And one of them was a book that I really, really wanted for a while. It's Detective Comics 168. Okay. First appearance of the Red Hood. Okay.
I know the one.
Uh, and I was stocking a copy that was on my comic shop for about $11,000.
Yeah,
Just and it was not a high grade, it was a low grade. Okay, so it gives you a sense. I found a restored copy on Heritage. The last sale was like 8,000. I paid 3,000.
wow,
Yeah.
bargain. Yeah,
Bargain. Yeah. So there are steals out there.
yeah.
Um, and for major books. I mean, this is not like some, you know, random little book. It's a big book where I think people are desperate to sell because they're still needing money, and they're giving away some of their bigger books to try to find some, you know, niche in the market that, you know, that they can sort of take advantage of, and it it doesn't always work. Um, so yeah, so I was shocked when I got some of those. I got a couple big books that way, and
That sounds great. Very good.
yeah, but
Right.
you know.
Okay, we've waffled on long enough. Alan's making me jealous with his purchases there, so I have to move on. Otherwise, I'll
Mhm.
have to go out and find a copy of that, and I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So that's your lot for this week. See you again next week. Bye, Alan.